evening, and it's going to be a lot of fun. This is number 7 out of our series, and we have the entire health panel joining us tonight, so it's going to be a really fun presentation. We're going to start with Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Woodson. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Well, wonderful. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started, and so I'm going to let you kick this off and tell us what we're in store for tonight.
Well, tonight we decided to change direction ever so slightly, and there were quite a few requests in prior weeks about talking about different aspects of fat loss versus weight loss. So tonight we're going to focus on success, and of course the definition of success is the achievement of something desired. We're going to talk about measuring your success, and we're going to highlight the fact that the scale may not be your best friend, and this is probably best shown by the next slide, which shows two girls looking at the scale saying, "Don't step on it, it makes you cry." When I first saw this a little over a year ago, I cracked up and I swore to myself at the first opportunity I had, I was going to use it in one of the presentations. So I'm actually going to segue at this point and allow Dr. Greg to start talking about the different components of why it is important to not just take a look at weight, but rather than the whole picture. So Greg, if you would please.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, you know, and you're absolutely right. You know, the scale really is not the best indicator of what's going on. And this slide here, I think, really shows the difference. You know, the yellow blob in the back represents 5 pounds of fat. The red, model actually represents 5 pounds of muscle. So you can see that muscle weighs substantially more than fat, equal amounts of volume, and we see that all the time. Now, you know, weight is one indicator of where you are. Body mass index is another indicator. And the body mass index was developed to try to take height out of the weight equation. And when you actually look at the formula for body mass index, it's weight in kilograms divided by height in meters squared. And so what it really does is it gives us a cross-sectional analysis. So if you were able to cut yourself a 1-inch slab of yourself and put it on the scale, you know, on average, that's what the BMI represents. Okay, but still in all, it really does not take into account how much fat you have and how much muscle you have. Next slide, please. Okay, now this I assume this is the same woman, but you can see that actually the picture on the left shows a woman 127 pounds, and on the right this same woman weighs 136 pounds. Yet, I mean, you can clearly tell, I mean, you look at the thighs, you look at the belly, and you even look at the arms, okay, there's significantly less fat. I mean, what's the difference? You know, obviously, there's more muscle, okay? So she weighs almost 10 pounds heavier, but when you look at her, I mean, she looks slimmer, so much slimmer. I mean, amazingly slimmer, and that's the truth. And I've seen this in my own patients. You know, I have a patient. He's a retired sheriff's deputy. He has a BMI of 33. That puts him in the obese category. But if you were to do a body fat analysis on him, I bet his body fat is less than 10%, because this dude is built. I mean, he is built for performance. Okay. He carries a lot of extra muscle. And so, you know, weight is not a good indicator. BMI is a better indicator. But when you really want to get down to it, it's that body fat analysis that really tells the tale. Okay? Next slide, please. Now, fat is meant to be a sort of a storehouse for fuel. You know, calories are stored in the form of fat in times of surplus, okay, to be used in the event of famine, okay. And fortunately or unfortunately in our society, we don't face famine, okay. And quite truthfully, the foods that we eat, you know, that fast food, the processed foods, those easy, convenient foods are so quickly stored as fat, okay. And I think we've heard that, you know, over and over again enough, so I'm not going to talk about it too much more. But 5 pounds of fat burn 20 calories a day, whereas 5 pounds of muscle burn 250 calories a day. So on the program, what you're doing is you are releasing fat, you are developing muscle, which in turn is going to help keep you on track for the future. You're going to burn more calories because you have a much more vitally active tissue that is replacing the fat. And so some people, you know, are discouraged because they don't lose weight, but they're losing sizes, they're losing inches. You know, it's amazing, you know, the stories that I've heard over and over again. And the simple reason is you're replacing fat with muscle, and muscle is a very vital tissue. It is burning a lot more calories. Another thing about fat that a lot of people don't realize, it's not only is it, you know, a storehouse for calories and toxins, and we've talked about the toxins, but it is a major endocrine organ, okay? When we have a normal amount of fat that works, you know, the way it's supposed to, it releases hormones, and one of them is leptin, okay? So you eat a meal, and you know, your fat cells will trigger the release of leptin. Leptin is supposed to be a satiety hormone. It actually suppresses appetite, okay? So you get enough calories, you build you replenish the glycogen stores in your muscle, you store a little away in fat. The fat says, oh, we're doing our job. You know, it sends a signal to the brain in the form of leptin to slow down. You stop eating. You don't need to eat. But the problem when we accumulate more fat than we should have, we actually start secreting more leptin, but we don't respond to it. Okay, so we lose that satiety signal. So we lose that signal. But what we're seeing with the program is as you lose the weight, as the fat comes down, and I've seen this over and over again, we improve our signaling mechanism to the brain to say, hey, it's time to stop eating, okay? And so that's just one of the hormones. I mean, there's resistin, there's tumor necrosis factor, there's aromatase enzyme, which converts testosterone to estrogen, you know, causing fat deposition in men where it shouldn't occur. Resistin, what it does is it actually increases the formation of bad cholesterol, and it actually prevents the liver from processing cholesterol and getting rid of the bad cholesterol. So it actually promotes the deposition of bad cholesterol into the arteries, setting us up for heart attacks and things like that. And these are only a few of the things. We really do not know everything that happens in fat that that causes us to actually increase the fat gain and actually resist the removal of fat. But what we're seeing with our program here is we're breaking that cycle, and even if you're not seeing the weight loss that you would hope to see, what you're doing is you're shifting. You're causing a shift from an unhealthy tissue to a more vital, healthier tissue. Next slide, please. So this represents that patient of mine, you know, and clearly he had a BMI of 33, you know, and that's what the scale says, 33.9. But he looked like the guy on the left, and unfortunately, most of my patients with BMIs of 33.9 look like the guy on the right. So clearly, major health ramifications with that extra adipose tissue. Next slide, please. I think you're up, Dr. Mike.
Absolutely. And referring back to that slide on the BMI, when I was at the height of my playing soccer and literally there was no spare inch to pinch, my BMI was just shy of 28, which put me into the overweight category. And yet I was outrunning, outplaying, and outjumping men 15 years my junior. So the BMI is misleading. All of these are different factors and different measurements of health and weight loss and fitness. But you really have to almost ignore all that other information and drill down into what was more important for you. So the slide that I start my segment with asks a very important question. And that question is, so why did you start anyway? Did you start because you wanted or had to deal with health issues or a fitness goal or target, or in some situations, clothing costs? I am not shy to say that I have recovered nearly $15,000 worth of suits simply by using these products because they now fit me again, and this was from nearly 30 years ago. Appearance, and we'll touch on that in a little while as to what that exactly means. Some folks have gotten to a point in life where they need a reboot, and we'll talk about that as well. But it's important to define why you started anyway. More important, and this is what the next slide shows, is have you gotten to goal yet? If you have, wonderful, good for you. If you haven't reached your goal, get back with your coaches and let's redefine the goal and let's ramp up the program to get you to the goal, because literally we are now hearing stories of folks who are amazed at how rapidly things start to work for them when they start doing what they need to do. So let's talk about health as a goal for this program. Let's say that you are a diabetic and you want your fasting blood sugar or your A1C to improve, or you have a cholesterol problem, or you're aware of the relationship and the prediction of an elevated C-reactive protein towards certain cardiovascular events, or you now clearly understand that insulin overproduction is what leads to obesity. Maybe you have these issues, and I used these particular biomarkers because these are the same biomarkers that the clinical trial showed massive improvements over the course of 12 weeks. It does not take forever for these numbers to improve. Maybe your health issues have to do with symptoms. The SOB stands for shortness of breath. Okay? There was a very recent addition to medical terminology a few months ago, and that was the word bendopnea. Bendopnea is the phenomenon of somebody bending over to, say, pick something up from the floor or tie their shoelaces, and they become very short of breath. Lots of people have complained about this through the years to me as a doctor, and I really did not have a good explanation for it. Now we know it's a whole host of things, predominantly that belly fat pushing in on the different organs and cutting blood flow back to the heart and the lungs. Or you've got vertigo, or you've got brain fog, or you've got so much pain and inflammation you can hardly get through the day. Or your fatigue was so bad that you couldn't get going. Regardless, if these were the reasons, any one or all of these were the reasons that you got started on the program, and let's say that your shortness of breath has improved, well, I have news for you. That's success. You could not tie your shoelaces 6 or 7 weeks ago. Now you can, and you're not short of breath. Guess what? You've had the success that you were looking for. Or in my particular set of clients, I have a nurse who could not do cases more than 2 hours long because of fatigue and inflammation in her joints. Well, now she can do them. So she's had success. So it's important to keep track of these particular items. And moving on to the next slide, if we're going to be talking about fitness, and the next slide will highlight a few of these things, fitness goals are a very, very important thing, but people can also get waylaid. So I start with a fairly simple, straightforward, but very important daily activity. Maybe you're a certain age, or maybe you're a certain weight or you don't have the fitness to play with a child, your daughter or your son, or maybe grandkids, or in my particular situation, coach youth sports. You need to be fit to do this and to do a good job of this. Your ability to play with your child when you come home from work or school or whatever the case may be is something that will pay big dividends into the future. Or maybe your fitness goal is that you want to compete. I have a client who lost the weight and is now training to run a 5K, and he wants to finish his 5K in the same time that he did 8 years ago. So for him, losing the weight was only a component of the program. The other part was building more muscle, and we're helping him with both. Or strength. You had a particular goal at the gym. You wanted to be able to press a certain number of pounds. Well, great. You got it. Or looks. There are folks out there who compete in these particular competitions, and that's wonderful. Perhaps you're an individual who wanted to get your body fat percentage down a certain number, whatever that number might be, and you were struggling with it and you couldn't get there or you couldn't break past the plateau. The last item on this slide is something that speaks to me very, very personally. My journey was that I got soccer injuries and I gained weight and I could not exercise my weight down. I used this program. So this program allowed me to recover from an injury and get my fitness back, and I had success regardless of the fact that I altogether only lost 15 pounds. It wasn't that large a weight gain or weight loss, but my fitness had taken a hit, and I'm glad to say that it's now been taken care of. Now, the next slide, I want people to kind of sort of, take it with a little grain of salt. If you obey all the rules, you'll miss all the fun. This was said apparently by Katharine Hepburn. And the reason I chose this slide has to do with the following slide. It might be cheaper to just keep your old wardrobe, like I mentioned earlier. All my suits from nearly 30 years ago fit, and quite nicely too. Or there's a new style you really, really want, but you need to lose a few pounds before you look good in it. And I won't venture to go into that particular realm, but you know what? Go for it. Or, and this is something very frequently that I hear nowadays, women get to a certain age, they get to a certain size, and they're almost in despair. I cannot believe that I'm a size, and you fill in the blank. Now, obviously, health and fitness should not be determined by your clothing size, but it's a mindset that becomes self-fulfilling. So, and this is what we were getting at from the beginning of the segment. If you have lost fat weight and instead added on muscle weight, your total weight loss may not be that large, but you now fit into smaller clothing, and that is a very, very good thing. Now, appearance. One of my earliest clients on this program actually wanted to look as good as she did 25 years ago from her med school graduation, and she achieved her goal. So I did not quite put two and two together when she first got started in the program, but this was the reason, this was the driving force. So clearly she had great success. A social event like reunions or annual fundraising balls or whatever the case may be, or summer swimsuit season. And I will share with all of you, my wife had never worn a two-piece bathing suit in her life. And last summer, when she started on this program and lost the weight that she wanted to and got the shape that she wanted to, on the 4th of July in Daytona Beach, I have a picture of her in a two-piece bathing suit. So success comes in many different packages. Or every now and then, as the next slide shows, things happen to us and we just need a reboot. You might be leaving for college and you want to have a completely new persona, separate from who and what you were in high school, in college. Or you're leaving college and you now know that you're going to be competing in the job market and you need every little bit of advantage that you can get. You're getting a new job, you're competing in the job market and you want to stand out. Or you lost your job and you want to show them that you're not who and what they thought you were. Relationship changes typically lead to a whole host of different things. The bottom line is this. If you need a reboot, and part of the reboot includes feeling better about your appearance, your weight, your strength, your fitness, if you started this program with one of these reasons and you achieved this, well, then you've had success. So the bottom line is many people start this program for many different reasons, and it's important to not just define success as the number on the scale going down. There are so many better ways to measure success, and I would encourage everyone, take a look at all these different things, and whichever one applies to you, if that was what got you going. We ask you when you start the program, how much weight do you want to lose? I think the better question we should have asked after that was, how much weight do you want to lose and why? What about losing that weight is so important to you? What will you do once you lose that weight? Why does that need to come off? What will you be able to do after you lose that weight? Because truly, the number on the scale is meaningless unless it is a positive effect on you. So that's the end of my segment for now, and I believe that we're going to be introducing Dr. Ginger. There you go.
Hey there.
Hey.
Okay, the first slide. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So over the past 7 weeks, you've learned, hopefully, so many new things that you've been applying to your life for 7 weeks, which is a long time. And we're not done. We're going to keep going. And so at this point, a lot of these things, and I'm sure you've kind of, as the weeks have progressed, picked up new habits, but a lot of these things are now habits. And so just continue to repeat these habits because they will become your lifestyle. Next slide. So this is not a short-term diet. It was not meant to be. It was definitely a reboot, but it's a long-term lifestyle change. And hopefully, all the things that you've learned, you're applying. We have the new way of eating your food. We have these amazing products that are doing wonderful things in your body to help you detox and stay on track and give you nutrients. And then the exercise part. And if the exercise part hasn't come into play yet, you might want to start thinking about that now. We've gone through 2 months of focus on diet, and hopefully you've started to do some exercise. But if you haven't, now's the time to do that. And I always love this little cartoon with this doctor talking to a patient, and the doctor telling the patient, what fits your busy schedule better, exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? So that's your little motivation for me to start exercising. And even 1 hour of exercise a day, and it doesn't even have to be an hour in the beginning, but 1 hour is just 4% of your day. I think you can find a way to do 30 minutes. So there's 2% of your entire day, 30 minutes of exercise. Next slide. This is kind of fun, and this is something I thought you all could do for yourself. So this is a little poster I found called My Diet Motivation Poster. No food tastes as good as it feels to, and you can fill in the blanks, to feel healthy, to have energy when I get out of bed in the morning. No food tastes as good. In other words, don't eat bad food because that bad food doesn't taste as good as it feels to enjoy a more active life doing the activities I enjoy, to get a better health report at the doctor's office, to be able to fit into some old favorite clothes or some new ones, enjoy living a longer, healthier life and being with my loved ones longer. So you can kind of make your own little poster, little motivator, just maybe even do it on a sticky poster and put it in your refrigerator to remind you that no bad food tastes as good as it feels to be, and again, fill in the blank. That's my little motivation for you. Next slide. So success isn't just about what you accomplish in your life. It's about what you inspire others to do. You've gone so far here in 7 weeks, made so much progress, learned so many things. It's time to kind of bring the friends in, bring the family in. They might be looking at you kind of strange, especially if you started green juicing or doing some of the things that I recommend, kale chips, the avocado custard that we talked about a couple weeks ago, they might be looking at you kind of strange, but they're probably seeing your results. And so now it's time to bring everyone to the table and start teaching them these things so that they can join you in your journey. Next slide. So invite your friends and family to join you. Here we have a family pumping some iron, showing the fists. We have a group of women. It looks like they probably went running or are about to go running. They're doing a stretch. Some people out on the beach. Some friends are just getting together. Invite your friends and family to join you in this new path because you've learned so many new things that you can pass on to them. Next slide. And so success, it depends on you. Are you going to continue on this path, or is this just going to be 2 months of you doing your thing and then you stop right before the summer starts? We need to continue on this path. We need to continue reading up on some of the things that we've learned throughout the 7 weeks. Maybe take some things that have interested you and go online and do a little more research. Maybe invite some of your friends to do the same. Maybe have weekly meetings with your friends, but continue on the path. Get your family involved, your mother, your coworkers. Continue on this path. It depends on you. You're in a habit now, and you can keep it going. Do not give up at this point, because this is the point where it's like kind of like a make or break. You've created these habits. You're 2 months in, which is a long time. Let's continue. Let's round out the rest of 2014. So by the end of the year, in January, you don't have too many resolutions you need to keep because you're already on them. Maybe you could step it up a bit, maybe exercise an hour instead of 30 minutes, or maybe even enter into a competition of some sort. But continue on your path throughout this next year so that by January you're ready to rock and roll and include your family, your friends, and certainly, we have another week next week where we're going to wrap things up, but you can continue on and do another month and another month and another month and really kind of streamline things, get yourself lean and mean, and I'm sure we'll have some more programs along the way. Woodson?
Well, thank you so much, and I'd like to bring everybody back. I love this presentation because it really was it's one thing to know it. It's another thing to see it. I love the slides with the muscle and the fat, but especially the girl that was almost 10 pounds heavier, yet she looked phenomenally thinner and fitter and just super healthy. And I just think that's something important for all of us to see is this transformation going on within us. And I want to thank all three of you. Tonight's presentation, I learned a lot. It really kind of reset me psychologically from all of the silly little things we get caught up in, whether it's the scale or getting back on track to what motivates us. And as a coach, shame on us or me for not really finding out more about, okay, why are we on this journey? Because it is important if someone wants to get ready for a reunion or a wedding or a special event or something in their life made them say, I'm fed up, I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. So I didn't know if any of you wanted to also make some comments as we wrap up tonight, Dr. Mike, Dr. Greg, Dr. Ginger, because I thought tonight was very telling for all of the internal dialogue that we have while being on this program.
It was, Woodson. This is Dr. Greg, and I just want to say that, that success for me, in my practice is when I can set my patients on a path to better health. And that really is what this is all about. And we really didn't talk about that a whole lot. We talked about appearance, we talked about, muscle versus fat, and other issues, but, the bottom line is health. And, this program really is geared to get people back on track, get them in control, of their lifestyle. And, we have seen, so many successes that we can measure, with regards to blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugars, A1Cs, you name it. And that really is, what's motivating me and, keeping me, so involved with this program is to see the health benefits.
Absolutely. And this is Dr. Mike. I just wanted to bring the field up to date on Willow, our lady who works at the fast food joint, Chick-fil-A. Her initial goal had been to go below 200 pounds, and she had been trying for the last 3 years to get there, and we got her there within the first 4 days of the program. So that was quite nice. This past week, at her weekly weigh-in, she broke down in tears because the other goal that she had not been telling anyone about was that she did not believe that she was ever going to see 185 pounds or less again in her lifetime. Well, she broke past 185 pounds. And what was really, really gratifying was this Saturday when we had a small event at my office, not only did Willow show up, Willow showed up with her son and her daughter. Because now Willow has every intention that her children have the same benefits that she has enjoyed from the program. So this is one of those situations where as physicians, as healers, this is truly what drives us when we can inspire other folks who can then inspire other folks. It was a good day for me yesterday.
That is so neat. That is so great. And Dr. Ginger, I loved everything that you said. I really, really did. And I especially like the slide of what's more important to you, how you feel or eating this one little bite of whatever it was, this fleeting moment. And that really spoke to my heart. And I just like that because that was so simple and it was just so true. And I think it will help all of us be a little
bit
saying,
more. A minute on your lips, a lifetime on your hips.
Oh, yes, I know that very well.
Well, when we have such amazing options, like we shared that avocado carob pudding, I mean, you know, you can still enjoy things, but it won't spend a lifetime on your hips. So there's definitely options out there that we just need to explore more, that's all.
Well, this has been incredible. I know everybody has really enjoyed it. I'm receiving messages from all across the country, and I just want to thank you guys for everything that you have done for us, and I encourage everyone to go get registered and join as a member on migrate28.com. It's free, and you will receive updates, welcome letters, and this webinar series for you to use and go back to as a reference tool. Save those emails because those links are especially for you for participating in this program with us, and we're not going to stop there. It's going to continue. So no matter where you are in your journey, we have a very special presentation for next week. It's going to continue, and everything with our healthy lifestyle is going to continue. So I encourage everyone to go there, join free as a member, and confirm your email when you receive it, and then you will receive all of the videos week by week. So save those links. They are yours to go back and use as a reference. As I said before, you're going to get incredible reference material for being a member there, and then we've got a photo gallery that we're building. We want your photos as well. We're going to start building recipes and all kinds of healthy things on there as well. You're going to see it really evolve, so definitely check it out. Thank everybody. I want to thank you all so much for being here with us tonight, and especially our health panel. You have done so much and have infused so much of your knowledge, your time, and more than you would ever imagine into all of our lives to help us with this journey. And we thank you so much. I cannot be more sincere in that thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It has been a pleasure.
It's been awesome. Thanks, Woodson.
You're welcome. And this isn't the end, you know, but I just want you guys to know this is really kind of the beginning of starting a new chapter for all of us. So everyone have a great evening. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Bye.